Welcome to Module 2. In this module, we will look at the 6 high-level principles of WHO Good Reliance practices. By the end of this module, you will be able to state the main principles of reliance. There are 6 high-level principles of reliance that are intended to complement and extend the basic principles of good reliance practices. These principles are universality, sovereignty of decision-making, transparency, respect for national and regional legal bases, consistency and competence. We'll now look at each principle in more detail. The principle of universality is based on the concept that reliance applies to all NRAs, irrespective of their levels of maturity or resources. Reliance is relevant for all resource settings, and different NRAs use reliance for different reasons. For example, some use it to increase technical in-house capacity. Others use reliance to gain expertise that they do not have locally. The decision to practice reliance, and how best to do so, rests with each NRA. Reliance does not imply dependence. It is not an agency outsourcing its decision-making authority or responsibility. In applying reliance in daily practice, NRAs maintain independence, sovereignty, and accountability in regulatory decision-making. Transparency is a key enabler to adopting new, more efficient ways of conducting regulatory operations, both locally and internationally. NRAs should be transparent about their reliance approaches. The basis and rationale for relying on a specific entity should be disclosed and fully understood by all parties. NRAs should also engage with all stakeholders to ensure awareness and the appropriateness of reliance processes. Transparent regulatory operations and decision-making can build trust and maximize opportunities for cooperation and reliance as part of a shared regulatory community responsibility. To ensure efficient implementation of reliance, as part of government policy on good regulation, reliance practices should be coherent with national and regional legal frameworks and policies on medical products and supported by clear mandates and regulations. In case regulations do not make explicit provision for the application of reliance, it may be adopted through interpretation of existing regulations. Reliance can be implemented through policy change as long as it is broadly consistent with national legislation. Legal frameworks should be adopted in the interests of gaining efficiency and capacity, rather than for the minimization of resources for regulatory functions. Reliance should also be used to maintain and build local capacity for regulatory decision-making. Reliance on an assessment or decision from another authority should be established for specific well-defined categories of products and processes. The scope of regulatory activities for which reliance may be practiced should be clearly defined, and the practice of reliance should be transparent and predictable. Thus, reliance should be applied consistently for products and processes in the same categories. Implementation of reliance approaches requires NRAs to have the necessary competence for critical decision-making. Introduction of the reliance approach usually requires the involvement of senior regulatory staff, managers, and experts who are competent to make the best use of regulatory information from external sources in the local context. In addition, NRAs should maintain the appropriate scientific and technical expertise of their staff for activities in which they do not apply reliance, such as monitoring local adverse events, market surveillance and control, national labelling and product information activities, and oversight of locally manufactured products. You have now completed Module 2. In the next module, we will look at key concepts and general considerations.